I didn't want to do this for most of the month, and I don't even know why, because it should be pretty easy. But anyway, we're back to personal stuff again. I'm sorry, I am working on media things, sorry. But disability. So as far as I know, I have a lot of nerve damage and sciatica and chronic fatigue and conversion disorder, even though I will complain about that later on. So, how it happened. I was 19 turning 20, and the thing is, a few years ago, I had a kitchen porter job. It wasn't fun. I get getting sexually harassed and nobody would do anything, and so I ran off and I needed another job. So there were apprenticeships at Guildford College, and I, like one of those teenagers who wanted to save the world, I went for a care home apprenticeship instead of a admin apprenticeship, which could have made my life easier, but it didn't work out that way. So I was working at a care home for 3 months, and it was awful and traumatizing and definitely not for me. I was getting up at like 5 a.m. and immediately crying, and I lost 2 stone in weight. I was doing 6 consecutive days sometimes, and I just kept trembling and was miserable and all the usual things with depression. And my parents were getting divorced and my granddad was dying. So eventually I had to stop doing that. Everyone was like, oh, please just quit. You're not doing well. And I was on probation, so I didn't feel like I had the right to just quit. And obviously I didn't know what was to come, so I thought, I can't really quit within 3 months, otherwise I'm never going to get another job. So I got sent home in early December, and I think nobody has confirmed this, but I'm just assuming. I think I got so sick after that because I was doing so much for so long. I had all that miserable adrenaline. I'm not rising that, but whatever, it's late. So I had all that adrenaline, and then I just slept for a good long time, and I mean over like a course of a couple of months. So and I just don't think that helped, or it was the cause of stuff. And in January I was trying to go out with friends and just slept, and then when I got home I slept for 21 hours, which even now I have chronic fatigue now, I still can't do. And I fainted in my kitchen. My parents were my dad and my brother talking to me, and I just collapsed apparently. And so by March I was in a wheelchair and really struggling, so my dad had to throw a temper tantrum in the doctor's office because he had no idea what it was. The doctor, not the parent, we didn't know what it was either. So they just said it was conversion disorder. Conversion disorder is basically hysteria in 2000s, which is the best way I can say it. You have emotional pain translating into physical pain, and I will complain more about the conversion disorder diagnosis later on. But so we had a lot of tests. There's calcification in my brain, which is another thing entirely. And I've seen a few people who have similar things to me. Not all conversion disorder, but there was a doctor whose daughter, I'm not really gonna say much about other people because I don't know other people, but they're just talking about them, and it's not a uncommon thing, or maybe it's just a small world. But anyway, so after all those tests, after all those, just nothing really happened, and admittedly, I got offered physiotherapy, but I had like a really shitty walking stick, which I couldn't do, and I kind of had a tantrum about it, so they kind of stopped doing that. But I have to show you my actual cane, so this is what I can actually have now. So, I mean, yeah, I got worse a couple of years ago, and I'm kind of not at that part of the story yet, but it is very good. I like my cane, and it's still quite clean as well, considering how much I've knocked tooth against stuff. But anyway, back down there. The problem with conversion disorder diagnosis is that even though I had a lot of physical stuff, like a few years ago I had a massive concussion, and apparently I didn't remember much at all, like 90% of my life, and which you could say is a good thing, but that's trauma mood. So even though I had like this huge bump at the back of my head and you could feel it, as soon as doctors and nurses found out about conversion disorder, knew what it was even, they just said, oh, it's to do with that. And I hit my head on the bathroom, and they just decided it was conversion disorder still. So every time I had like a physical illness, and I do have a few, they just decided it was conversion disorder. But I will compliment my current doctor. So I think my main thing was that I was 30, coming up to 30. I'm 31 now, but this was like 29. I was tired of doctors just not doing anything for me, and I wanted to go to Chicago actually and start a new decade of life, and 2020 has slightly ruined that, but we will not deal with that. So, and I wanted to do all the shaking because, as I said before, I had got worse. I don't really want to say why, but I did. So I went to a female doctor who had been good for me before, and she was like, oh, let's actually sort this out and see what we have. And I had MRIs, I had x-rays, and they found nerve damage, and specifically sciatica. And I don't really know why I'm still chronic fatigue yet. I have no energy, but I think that's something that physiotherapy can't really deal with, doctors can't really deal with, and neither can psychology. But we will see. I mean, things might get better, might get worse, and actually know what the hell is going on. So I am so doped up on pain pills, and I don't know if this is a common thing for other people, but I just have to save them because the pain scale for me is like 4 or 5 on a regular day, and I have no idea how it's gonna get, and I just kind of save them all for work days because people will complain if it's too much, because ableism, yay. So yeah, I have amitriptyline as well. I have 3 pills to take to get me to sleep, because if I don't, then the pain is just way too much, and my side is killing me right now, so it just knows I'm talking about it. So that is my disability. I guess the lessons I've learned is, even though I appreciate the NHS a lot, it is obviously better than the America system, then you've still got to try really hard to get anywhere, and it's really tempting to give up, but don't. You will maybe eventually, hopefully, get a decent doctor who will help you get to the baseline, at least, even if you're not like able-bodied and neurotypical and all that kind of thing. And I would love to have physiotherapy, but I can't because 2020 and COVID, and UK is just as fucked up as America. So, and also one thing I'm trying to deal with is that you're not going to be as productive as other people, probably not, and you just kind of have to take it at your own pace. And my shoulder is killing me as well. It knows I'm talking about it. I did try to walk earlier, but and also it's November and the cold weather just fucks me up in a different way other than hot weather. So my lessons, I'm trying to deal with not being as productive. I'm trying to take rest days. Even in NHS, you kind of have to deal with the fact that a lot of doctors don't really want to help. They just think, oh, it's hysteria, so whatever. And yeah, I'm still kind of dealing and processing with, I'm not as, this might never get better, and I might be stuck here, which I'm very lucky for. It's a big study, and my dad's records in the background, for anyone who was wondering. They're not mine. And so yeah, I've kind of petered out in this one, and Ariel will hopefully come, because deliveries, I've complained about that enough this year, but if it doesn't arrive this month, then I will do it in December, and so on and so forth. So if any of this has resonated with anyone, just comment down below and have fun. I will see you all later. Love you.